Manchester United in talks with Feyenoord over a £30 million deal for David Hancko. Sergio Reguilon potentially returning to the club as a new left-back option. Christian Eriksen to Ajax, plus also the latest on Manuel Ugarte and De Ligt. These are some of the stories we will be discussing on this morning's show. But before we get into that, please do me one small favour. Smash a like on today's episode. Let's try and see 1,000 likes. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe to the channel. I'm live every single day at 8:30, 1:30 and 6 p.m. UK time. Currently, only 50% of people who watch our videos are subscribed. So if you're one of those who isn't subscribed, make sure you get involved. It's your best way to keep up to date with all of your latest transfer, news and talk. Right, let's jump straight on into it. And I want to start the show off with, I'm going to call it a positive. People might think it's not, but I think it's a positive. So anybody who watched the show last night will know that a story broke linking us to Marcos Alonso, 33 years of age. And we were all sat here scratching our heads saying, why the hell are we going for Marcos Alonso? Like, it doesn't make any sense. He left Chelsea. He went to Barcelona. He's definitely past his best. He doesn't meet the age profile. And the journalist who came out with this story was Samuel Luckhurst. And I remember last night, we were all sat here saying, where the hell has this story come from? Marcos Alonso to Manchester United, really? So Fabrizio Romano's come out in the last couple of hours and said, we had rumours on Marcos Alonso today. He says, as of today, Marcos Alonso's camp has not received any approach from Manchester United and there are no negotiations. So I personally think that's a positive, to be honest. I just think if we'd have gone for Marcos Alonso as our new left-back at the age of 33, all of Ineos's like profile policy would have just completely gone out of the window, wouldn't it? The profile policy, for anybody who's wondering, is supposedly that Ineos are looking for players under the age of 25 who are exciting talents, who can grow and get better under Erik ten Hag, opposed to bringing in players like what we used to, where you sign somebody past their best. You think of people like Cavani, Ibrahimovic, Falcao, Ronaldo the second time, etc. You know, we bring in players who are in their mid-30s on massive wages. And Marcos Alonso was that exact fit. So Samuel Luckhurst, as I said, obviously came out last night. We were all sat here saying, what the hell is this guy talking about? Why would we even be interested in Marcos Alonso? But Fabrizio's completely shut down that story. So yeah, that's the positive for today. There's so much craziness in the transfer window and there's so many players that we're linked to. But yeah, he was just one where I just couldn't understand it. And effectively, Samuel Luckhurst has made it up. That's what Fabrizio's saying. So anyway, let's move on from that. I thought I'd bring it in because I know some people last night were getting very, very upset about this story and saying, where have you got it from? You've made it up. And I was saying, you know, it's come from Samuel Luckhurst, who is in the press conferences. He interviews Erik ten Hag. Like, he's a proper journalist, but he's obviously just got the story wrong. So let's move on from that, though, and let's move on to somebody who we are genuinely linked to, and that is Sergio Reguilon. We're going to do a poll. Some people in the comments section were saying they don't like the polls. What do you guys think? It'll be interested to know what you all think. And if you let me know in the comments, that would actually be really, really appreciated. Like, I want to make sure that you enjoy these shows and it's not just about me. Like, it's not the Kieran show. This is our community and I want to make sure that you're getting enjoyment and fulfillment out of watching these videos. So do people enjoy the polls? Let me know in the comment section because I don't want to keep doing them. There was someone yesterday who commented and he got loads of likes saying, like, don't do polls anymore. And I think we've done one poll in that show. Like, I don't know. I think polls are good, but this one person was unhappy about it. And I said to them, like, we did one poll today. If you don't like polls, that's fine. But I want to make sure that everybody's in agreement. You know, I don't want to just do it because of one person. But we'll do it today. And then, obviously, I want you to let me know in the comments section, everybody. Should we continue doing polls on the channel? That's like, so the polls are when we're live. For anybody who doesn't know what that means, it's when we're live. It allows people to vote and have their say on a certain topic. So yeah, we'll do one today. But I want you to let me know. So we're going to do this. Should United sign... Somebody says, can we do a poll for polls? That's pretty good. Should United sign Reguilon? There you go. Cool. So Josh says, ignore that one person. The thing is, though, Josh, right? It got about 20 likes. So it got me thinking. I think they're good, and every single person in the chat now is saying the polls are good, the polls are good. But let me know in the comment section of the video, and I will genuinely read them, and I will then act on that decision, because it isn't the Kieran show. This is our community, and I want to make sure that everyone's enjoying it. Obviously, if there's only one person who doesn't like them, then I'll listen to the majority. But so we're going to talk now about Sergio Reguilon. I've set up a poll that you can get involved with. Let me give you a bit of context before you vote. So apparently he's available for as little as £5 million. He has 1 year left of his contract, 27 years of age. Tottenham effectively want rid of him. He's not on big wages either, which I think is another key point we need to really consider, because wages are such a big factor, aren't they? And I think that's why when this Marcos Alonso story came out yesterday, I was thinking he's going to be on big money at Barcelona, and he's on about 150k a week, Marcos Alonso, right? Whereas Sergio Reguilon is only on 50k a week, which is Brandon Williams was on 60k a week in the same position. And I don't think Brandon Williams played for United for 2 years, 3 years. So wages, Sergio Reguilon ticks the box. I think his attitude, he ticks the box. You know, he had that right mentality. He was working hard. He seemed like a good person to have around the team. Age profile, he's a little bit over the age profile of what we're looking for. He's 27, but that's much better than Marcos Alonso at the age of 33. And I think the other good thing about Reguilon is he would know that he'd be a backup to Luke Shaw and Malacia. And I think he'd be accepting of that. If we could get him for $5 million, I would personally sign him, because this summer we still need another centre-back. We need probably a right-back because Wan-Bissaka's going to go. We probably need we definitely need a CDM, if not two. We potentially need a right winger if Sancho goes and Pellistri goes. So there's still probably about 4 or 5 positions ahead of the left back at the moment, you know? So it might have to be that we get somebody in like Reguilon, who's maybe not the most exciting name. I know it's not like Ferdi Kadioglu or a Mazraoui, or, you know, it's not the most exciting name. I get it. And people are probably scratching their heads a little bit, saying really, we're going to get Sergio Reguilon? But we have to be resourceful this summer. So this is coming out from Fabrizio. He says that Sergio Reguilon was very happy at Manchester United and would like to return this summer. If Manchester United decide to return for him, he will be keen on the move. But we have been linked to him quite a lot this summer. There's been quite a lot of murmurs saying that apparently Manchester United will go back in for Sergio Reguilon, and they see him as a cheap option. So I think he'd be a good signing. I'm not going to get him printed on the back of my shirt. James says the problem is he wouldn't be a backup because Luke Shaw is made out of biscuits. I get what you mean there, and it's a fair point. Before you know it, Sergio Reguilon will probably be our starting left back. I personally think we should go for David Hancko. We'll talk about him in a minute, and a potential £30 million deal. But yeah, if we could get Reguilon for $5 million, I think it would be a sensible deal to do. I think it would strengthen that left back position, and it gives us a little bit more security. Obviously, we know that Dalot can play at left back as well. So if Luke Shaw was injured, say, then Dalot would probably be the starting left back, right? You wouldn't have Reguilon as your starting left back. But then obviously then you say, what happens at right back? So it's a bit of a minefield. Our starting left back should be Luke Shaw and our starting right back should be Dalot. But what happens if Luke Shaw gets injured, you know? Malacia's disappeared, and Reguilon's probably not good enough to be starting Premier League games. I think he'd be all right in the Europa League, the early rounds of the FA Cup, the early rounds of the League Cup. I think he'd be perfectly fine for that, no problem at all. But if you're playing like a Man City or a Liverpool or an Arsenal or a Tottenham or a Chelsea, whatever, you don't really want Reguilon as your left back, do you? He's not of that quality, I don't think. And that's why Tottenham want rid of him, effectively. But keeping on the topics of right backs and left backs, we have a bit of an update for you on Mazraoui. Oh, sorry, everyone. We got a bit of an update on Mazraoui for you. So this is coming up from James Ducker, who reports for The Telegraph here in the UK. And he is reporting that Manchester United are now expected to step up their search for a new right back. It says Mazraoui is thought to be the number one target at right back if Wan-Bissaka decides to leave, and United are exploring permanent and loan deals for the left back. I think Mazraoui would be a quality signing, I do. He's available for around 15 million euros, which I think is extremely cheap. He's only 26. I'm not sure why he's available for so cheap. I don't know. I don't watch Bayern enough, but I thought he played quite a lot for Bayern as well. Someone was saying he played yesterday in a friendly and scored an absolute screamer. Yeah, I would like to see Mazraoui. From what I've seen of him, let's have a look. So last season, Mazraoui played 19 times in the Bundesliga. So not that much. He's only playing half the games. He played 8 games in the Champions League. And he played, obviously, in the German Cup and stuff. So across the whole season, Mazraoui played about 2,000 minutes, which is the equivalent of about 20 games. So he probably played about a third of the minutes that Bayern Munich had available to them last season. So it's not actually that much, is it? But the thing I really like about Mazraoui is his versatility. Obviously, he can play as a right back, a left back, and as a centre back. So he would give Manchester United lots of options in those positions. And it's those positions at the moment where we're particularly light. And it's those positions where we're heavily linked to players at the moment. You know, the Trevor Chalobahs, the Mazraouis, the David Hancos, the Ferdi Kadioglu's. There's so many links across our back line at the moment with these versatile players who can operate in kind of any of the back four positions. And if we can get Mazraoui or we can get David Hancko, I think it would be a welcomed addition because we desperately need to strengthen that area, don't we? Like, we really, really do. Because at the moment, we look pretty short. Ant says, the problem with Mazraoui is his injury record, plus he's not that good defensively. Fair enough. Okay. There you go. It's good to have other people in the chat. Let's have a quick look at his injury history then, shall we? Because we have a common factor at Manchester United, don't we, of signing injury-prone players. I mean, yeah, I can see where you're going here. So last season, he missed 13, 14. Last season, he missed 19 games through injury, which is a lot. The season before that, he missed 6, which isn't too bad. And then the season before that, he missed about 10. I mean, I wouldn't say that's terrible when you compare that to De Ligt, which some people are like desperate for De Ligt. De Ligt's missed 20 games or more every year for 5 years. But yeah, I mean, obviously it is a concern. Like, we want to bring in Mazraoui because we have Luke Shaw, who's injury prone, and you could potentially be bringing in another injury prone player, you know, in Mazraoui. So I get people's concerns, you know, to have missed 20 games this season, 12 the last, 11 the season before. The season before that in 2021, he missed 31 games through injury. Season before that, 16. I mean, yeah, that when you break it down like that, that is a lot, isn't it? Going from 2019, 16 games the first year, then 31, then 11, then 12, then 19. It doesn't look particularly good reading, does it? When you think that Bruno Fernandes, right? I think Bruno's only missed 1 game in his whole career through injury or illness. Like 1. Whereas this guy's missing like 15 games or more a season. So it looks like, to be honest, that Bayern Munich are trying to sell all of their injury-prone players to us by the looks of it, doesn't it? They want us to buy De Ligt for a ridiculous amount of money, and they now want us to buy Mazraoui. So effectively, we're just taking Bayern Munich's injury-prone players away from them and allowing them to go and reinforce with probably better options. So yeah, maybe Mazraoui is in a void then, I think, personally. Having discussed it as a community and checking out all of his stats and stuff, it does seem like a little bit of a risky decision to make. But you can let me know in the comments section, like, would you like to see Mazraoui at Manchester United? Obviously, there was this story that broke a couple of days ago that seemed to upset quite a lot of people, that apparently Erik ten Hag wants to bring Mazraoui to United because he sees him as the key to unlocking Antony. Obviously, Antony and Mazraoui played together at Ajax. They have a good chemistry, apparently. And Erik ten Hag thinks that if Mazraoui joins Manchester United, Antony will recover the form that he had at Ajax. I don't agree with that. We shouldn't be signing an injury-prone player to try and unlock Antony, who I would say most of the people watching this video think should leave the club. Like, that just doesn't really make sense to me, does it? You know, you're taking a massive risk with an injury-prone player to take another massive risk that he's suddenly going to come and Antony's going to start playing well. Like, he's been here for 2 years, Antony. If he can't form a chemistry with Dalot after 2 years, then I don't know. But you can let me know what you think about all of that. Would you like to see Mazraoui at Manchester United? We're very, very close to 33,000 subscribers now. We're literally less than 100 away. So everybody who is watching today who isn't subscribed, please go and do that right now. Let's try and hit 33k by the time I finish this video. We can definitely do it, so go and do that right now. And please make sure you like the video as well. I've set a likes target of 1,000 for today's video. If everybody who's watching the video now likes, we will hit that target. So please go and like and subscribe if you haven't already. 33k is within our grasp, and let's get it. Okay, let's move on from that, though, and let's move over to Christian Eriksen. So this story broke last night from a guy called, his name's Sam. He's a good journalist, I think. He seems to get a lot of good information around Manchester United. He's been good on a couple of things so far this summer. And he is reporting this morning that apparently Ajax are interested in signing Christian Eriksen this summer. Apparently the two clubs have been in contact. Ajax are currently asking for a loan. I mean, a loan is pointless for Manchester United. The reason why is Eriksen only has 1 year left of his deal. So if we loan Christian Eriksen out now, then effectively we're paying half of his wages, probably, and then he will leave in a year anyway. So a loan gets us nowhere. We're one person light in the midfield, and we're still probably going to have to pay some of his wages because he's on about 150k a week at the moment. Now, Man United are asking for either a loan with an obligation to buy or a permanent deal. I would be happy if we got anywhere from 5 to 10 million for Eriksen, I think. Remember, we got him for free. So even if we sold him for 5 million, that would be profit. And that would really help our profit and sustainability. So I genuinely would sell Christian Eriksen for anywhere from 5 to 10 million. And I think when you factor in his wages, right? And I know some people don't like it when I talk about wages and things, but it is very important when you look at transfers. He's on 150,000 a week, Eriksen, and he was injured for most of last year. Or when he did play, he didn't look up to the speed, I don't think, anymore. Of the Premier League, I'm sure he could go to Ajax, and in the Eredivisie, I'm sure he would be completely fine. I'm sure he'd have no issues and he'd look good again. But in the Premier League, the pace that it is, like, I just don't think he's up to it anymore. And as I said, when you look at the injuries from the last couple of years, right? Last season he missed 10 games, and the season before he missed 18 games. So he is starting to pick up little injuries. Like, whereas further on in his career, he would miss like 1 game a season. Whereas the last 2, it's been 18 and 10. He had an ankle injury and then a knee injury. So I personally would let Christian Eriksen go. I think any money we can get for him would be obviously well received, purely because we got him for nothing. It was straight profit. So we don't need to get a big fee for Christian Eriksen. You know, if we could get, as I said, anywhere from 5 to 10, I would take it. Some people in the chat were saying, would you let him go for free? I mean, if Christian Eriksen came along and said, you know what, I really want to go to Ajax. I want first team football. I'm not sure if I'm up to the level of the Premier League anymore. Let me go. I would let him go for free, yeah, because we didn't spend any money on him. There was no transfer fee. So it's not like we'd actually be losing money. We'd just be kind of like breaking even, wouldn't we? So yeah, I would let him go for free if that was the only option. I just wouldn't loan him, because loaning him usually means we cover some of his wages, realistically. Because Ajax won't give him 150k a week. So we would have to cover probably half of those wages. So yeah, if Ajax were going to cover all of his wages and take him and give him a contract, then I think it probably would be okay. And if anything, right, all you have to think of is that we have people like Toby Collier, who's waiting to break through into the first team, right? The very exciting 19-year-old CDM, who obviously played in the game against Rangers, right? An absolute talent there. Getting rid of people like Eriksen just frees up space to bring through some of these youth players. Eriksen's just going to sit on the bench, realistically. You know, he's not going to start many games next season. So it's not like we actually need to then replace Christian Eriksen. I think we could replace him with Toby Collier. And I don't think it would be like a massive drop-off, you know? You'd go from somebody who can barely run to somebody who literally, in that Rangers game, was all over the pitch. You know, he's got the legs. He's 19. Eriksen's 32. And if you look at the minutes that Eriksen played last season, right, he only played 1,400 minutes, which is about the equivalent of 15 games. So he only played a quarter of our games across all competitions, minutes-wise. So do you really think that Toby Collier couldn't play 1,400 minutes for us in all competitions next season? I think he could. Easily. So I would do that, yeah. And obviously, as I said, he's on big wages. We'd save around £8 million a season if we did that. So I would go for that. Obviously, I want what's best for the players as well. Derek says we should give him... Derek says Eriksen for free, but only if they take Antony. Oh, okay. Imagine that. We probably still owe we probably still owe Ajax loads of money for Antony anyway. So Surely if they gave us like 5 million for Eriksen, they could just knock that off the money we owe them for Antony. We paid 100 million euros for Antony, and we're paying them over 5 years. So, yeah, surely there could just be some deal worked out there where they take Eriksen for 5 million, and that just comes off the bill that we're still paying for Antony. But I don't know how simple it is, if that could actually happen. Let me have a little sip of my tea. It always goes cold. Al says, do you think Getafe would want Antony? I don't think so, mate. I've heard nothing about it. David says, for Denmark, Eriksen played as a cam and he did a decent job in the Euros, was one of their decent players. The thing is, though, mate, right? Eriksen was decent at the Euros, but international football is so slow, so pragmatic, it's side to side, and the Premier League isn't like that. It's not. So comparing an international tournament where players have time on the ball, like, it's completely different to how it's going to be in the Premier League. You'll go up against Bournemouth and they'll be pressing you every second from the first second of the game. Whereas in international football, you have time. And I agree that Christian Eriksen, like that, in a team like that, is good. He still has the ability. You know, he has the ability to find a pass. He's still got a good shot on him, like, and all the rest of it. But can Christian Eriksen hold down a midfield in the Premier League in 2024 at the age of 32? No, I don't think so. And that's the general situation here. I'm sure he can carry on playing for years at international level without any problem whatsoever. Like, all you have to do is go and look at the England national team. Like, they were having like one shot a game. And that was just like normal for international football. France didn't score a goal from open play until like the semi-final. Do you know what I mean? Like, international football is completely different to the Premier League. And that's why I don't really like it. I just find international football pretty boring most of the time. Obviously, Spain were an exception. They were playing nice football. But all of the other teams, it's slow and pragmatic. And that would suit Christian Eriksen at the age of 32. And obviously, he'd go to Amsterdam, to Ajax, and they would be one of the best teams. And yeah, so that's my take on it. But if you disagree, that's fine. Let me know your thoughts. Should we sell or get rid of Christian Eriksen? Okay, let's move on to David Hancko, shall we? So this story broke last night from multiple different people saying that apparently Manchester United are targeting a £30 million deal for Feyenoord defender David Hancko. Now, he's not the most trendy name. It's not a De Ligt. It's not a Branthwaite. Another Eredivisie player. That's obviously going to cause some upset with people. Obviously, another player that Erik ten Hag will know. But now you've got to think, right? We have 3 managers who have all managed in the Eredivisie. We do. Ruud van Nistelrooy, René Haak, and obviously Erik ten Hag. So I don't really see the problem with them wanting to bring in someone from the Eredivisie. Like, why is that an issue? And I think that David Hancko, for the money, is actually one of the best options out there on the market. I do. Because De Ligt is the trendy name. He's the big profile player. But let's be honest, he's injury prone and overpriced. If you could get De Ligt for a good amount of money, I would do the deal. But Bayern still want £42 million plus add-ons. Whereas this David Hancko guy, who obviously played for Slovakia at the Euros and was really good, is available for 30. That's the asking price. So you could probably get him for 20. And the good thing about him is he can play as a left back, and he can play as a left-sided centre-back and as a right-sided centre-back. So he covers all of those areas where we're currently short. I think it's a no-brainer. I do. I think he'd be a quality signing to bring through. And I think he's one of those names that like a West Ham or someone would sign. And then people will be like, oh, who's this guy? Where did he come from? He's good, you know? Like, he's that kind of player where he definitely is quality. He's strong, he's physical, he's quick. He's good on the ball. He's very good at bringing the ball out from the back and connecting the midfield to the defence. But I understand that he's not like the most trendy name. You know, it's not like he's a De Ligt or an Arojo or a Rudiger. Like, he's not a big profile name. I get it. And it is another Eredivisie player. But he did do well for Slovakia. And yeah, I think he'd be an interesting option. He has played in other leagues as well. He played for Fiorentina for a few years, and I think he was pretty decent there. He's played obviously in the Eredivisie. So yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with that one. But I would quite like him to come in because I think we do need to strengthen that area. And I think for the money, he would be a good option. Somebody says, do you think he can play a high line? Definitely, mate. Definitely. 100%. If you go and watch Feyenoord, how they play, right? Feyenoord play really, really nice football. Really nice. So if you're having any doubts about this David Hancko guy, go and check out some videos of him. If you can really be bothered, go back and watch a game from last season. Feyenoord finished second in the Eredivisie last year. They finished like 30 points ahead of Ajax. They had a very, very good season, and he was one of the standout players for Feyenoord in a team that, I don't want to say overachieved, but yeah, they did very, very well last season, Feyenoord. But in relation to the actual player and his profile, he's quick, much quicker than any defender we've got at the moment. He's quicker than Martinez, definitely. I don't know enough about Leny Yoro's pace-wise. I haven't seen enough of him to comment on whether he's quicker than Leny Yoro. But from what I've seen, I would say that Hancko is quicker than Leny Yoro, yeah. So he would be our quickest centre-back. He's also tall. He's 6'2", very physical, very strong, and very good at passing out from the back. I mean, have we not just ticked all of the boxes? And he can play at left-back. We're going from Maguire, who, let's be honest, goes at snail pace. I genuinely think if you had him in a race with Maguire, he would leave Maguire in the dust. Honestly, go and watch him. He's quick. He's very good at ball recovery, and you could definitely play a high line with him. So, yeah, I would take him over De Ligt 100% any day of the week. And I think it's almost better if we go for options that are less trendy and more slightly unknown, you know, because they present better value in the market. But yeah, let me know what you all think about David Hancko. If you don't know enough about him, go and check out some videos on him today and we can talk about him on the show this evening. But for me personally, I think he would be a good option. Let's see what the results of the poll are. So the last poll, 54% of people watching the video today think we should sign Reguilon on a permanent deal, and 46% of you say no. So it's quite level at the moment. People are asking for a poll on David Hancko. Sure, we'll do that. I'll do that right now. Whilst I'm doing that, if everybody who's watching could like the video, that would be appreciated. And make sure you subscribe as well. We're less than 100 away from 33k. So let's make sure we hit that by the end of today's video. Okay, right, let's do this. So who do you want as new centre-back? So your options are going to be this. David Hancko, De Ligt. Who else are we linked to? What's that other guy? Jonathan Tah. Who else have we been linked to in the centre-back position? I can't think of any others. My brain's gone. So we've got David Hancko, De Ligt, Jonathan Tah, and who's the fourth one? Who's the fourth centre-back that we've been linked to all summer? I mean, I'll put Branthwaite in there, just for argument's sake. So yeah, you can get involved in that poll. And if you're watching back on repeat, obviously you can let me know in the comment section. Who should Manchester United sign as the new centre-back? Let me know your thoughts. I'm genuinely going with David Hancko. I think he presents the best value for money on the market. I think his versatility is good. His pace is good. His injury record is good. He had a good Euros. And I honestly do not care whether Erik ten Hag, Ruud van Nistelrooy and René Haak know the player. Like, it makes no difference to me. Why would we sign somebody just to be like, oh, I'm so glad it's not an Eredivisie player? Like, now that pretty much our whole management team is ex-Eredivisie, surely you want players who they know and players that they trust and players that they've seen countless times before. Like, signing Jonathan Tah just to be like, oh, well, at least he's not an Eredivisie player. Like, why? Like, I don't know. But yeah, let me know. Obviously, if you disagree, that's fine. But yeah, I would really, really like us to go and get this guy. And he is available. Apparently £30 million is the asking price. And Manchester United believe they can get him for significantly less. So there you go. We'll obviously keep you updated as and when we get more news. Okay, moving on from that, though, let's move over to Erik ten Hag. Now, this is going to be a controversial topic. So I want everyone to get involved. I want everyone to hear what the story is. And then obviously I want you to give me your opinions. So this is coming out from Jamie Jackson, who is reporting this morning that apparently Erik ten Hag is not under pressure to guide Manchester United to top four next season. It says, with Jim Ratcliffe prioritising considerable progression of the team as he aims to establish sustained excellence. So to summarise there, apparently Erik ten Hag doesn't need to get top four next year. So if he doesn't get top four, he's not going to be sacked. Does that make sense? If we finish fifth, he's not going to be sacked. He won't be sacked. If he finishes sixth, he won't be sacked. How does everyone feel about that, to hear those words? That the goals set by Manchester United for this season are not top four. I'm sure they want top four, but the point that this story is making is if we don't finish top four, he's not going to be sacked. And you know what? I agree with it. My stance on this season coming, the most important thing is that we want a style of play. We want to see good, attractive football, okay? Because we haven't seen that last season at all. It was all over the place. It was a mess. That's the most important thing for me, right? Good, attractive football. Secondly, I want to see us dominating games in possession. I want other teams to be penned in their half and us literally having 70% possession, because that's why we brought Erik ten Hag in. Third, I don't want Erik ten Hag to be playing his favourites every game. I don't want to see Antony starting on that right wing every single week. And I think that if you combine all of those things together, an attractive style of football, retaining possession, not giving away the ball, etc., and him not playing his favourites, i.e. Antony, I honestly believe that we'll get top four. I reckon we'll win trophies. Because it's kind of obvious, isn't it? And I think that what Jim Ratcliffe's trying to do here is trying to put football first. He's saying, go out there, show us why the Glazers signed you as the new manager 2 years ago, and the rest of it will come. And I think the rest of it will come. So I think this story is a little bit... It's a little bit of a kind of like... It's got a hidden message behind it. Do you know what I mean? If we're playing awful football and finish 10th, I'm sure Erik ten Hag will be sacked. But the point that this story is making is the priority for next season is good, attractive football. And do you see what I'm saying? And if you play good, attractive football, unless you have horrible luck and VAR goes against you, you're going to get top four and you're going to win a trophy. So, yeah. But how would you feel? Imagine if we played beautiful football all season, but we finished 5th. I would be happy with that. I would. Because it would still show an improvement on last year. Because last year was literally painful to watch. I think we can all agree on that, can't we? There was a couple of games that were entertaining because it was like a basketball match. But generally, watching Man United last season was like... It was like watching paint dry. It was horrible. So yeah, it's an interesting one. And obviously I want to see what people's expectations are for next season. I personally think that we'll win the Europa League. And I personally think that probably top 6 is realistic at the moment. Obviously, if we sign some more players, then I think anything's possible. And obviously, if we start playing a proper style of football, anything's possible. But at the moment, it's going to take time, isn't it? I'm feeling positive, though. I am. I think this season's going to be a good one. And the black and white of it is, for me, right? I just want to be entertained. We watch football as an escapism, don't you? It's like a relaxing thing. You have a busy day at work or whatever, and then you go home and watch football. And it's supposed to be something you enjoy. But I think most of the people in this fan base didn't enjoy watching Manchester United last season, right? There was people on this channel who were just like, I'm just not going to watch the games anymore. It makes me too depressed. It's horrible, you know? So we just need to bring back that joy again. That's the most important thing for me. And I'm confident that Erik ten Hag and his team can do that. But yeah, let me know what you all think, you know? What's your priority for next season? Let me know. What else are people saying? Simon's saying that the away kit is now available to buy. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, when we hit 40k subscribers, I'm going to give out another 2 Manchester United shirts, by the way. So make sure you tell a friend, whatever. Let's try and get to 40k as quickly as possible. And I will give out 2 more Manchester United shirts. You can have whatever name you want on the back, whatever number. So yeah, when we hit 40,000, that is. So make sure you come back for that. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Al says, what's going on with Youssouf Fofana? Let's talk about Youssouf Fofana. Thank you for bringing that up. So in relation to Youssouf Fofana, Manchester United received a massive boost in their pursuit for Fofana last night, with apparently AC Milan pulling out of the race to sign him. I like Youssouf Fofana. I do. I think he, again, presents good value on the market. When you think that you could get... Are you ready for this, right? Youssouf Fofana's asking price is 35 million euros, but we can get him for less than that. AC Milan agreed a deal for 18 million euros a couple of weeks ago, but the deal fell through. You could get Youssouf Fofana, David Hancko, and Sofian Amrabat for the same price. So Amrabat, 10 million. David Hancko's 30 million. And Youssouf Fofana's 35 million. Those are all the asking prices, by the way, so we could probably negotiate that down. Those 3 players would cost you 75 million. And then you've got PSG still trying to ask for 70 million for Manuel Ugarte. So for 5 million more, you could get 3 players. I would do it. I would. I think this summer we've got to get the value in the market. We've got to get players who've got 1 year left of their contract, players who want to leave the club, etc., etc. And De Ligt and Manuel Ugarte, to me, at those prices, aren't opportunities on the market. They're not. We're paying the market value for them. We're not paying Manchester United getting a good deal because they're pushed out of the team price. So I personally would just walk away from both of those deals and go and look at these alternative options. But in relation to Fofana, so apparently AC Milan have pulled out of the race. I don't know why, but this was reported last night. And apparently Man United are in talks with Monaco over a potential deal for Youssouf Fofana. Obviously, Ineos really appreciate that him. Obviously, plays in the French league, which obviously they own a club in. And I think he'd be an interesting option. Is he world class? I don't think so. But I'm not 100% confident that Manuel Ugarte is world class. Like, would you put Ugarte in the same category as a Rodri? I don't think so, personally. I mean, I might be wrong. Maybe he is. But from what I've seen of Manuel Ugarte, he's a very good player, but he's not worth 70 million, I don't think. You know? Like, if you're paying 70 million for someone, you literally need them to be world class. Maybe you could argue that Zubimendi's more of a similar player to Rodri, I think. I think he'd still be a better option. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this all kind of progresses, because at the moment, we're linked to so many players. Obviously, the pre-season tour kicks off on Sunday. So yeah, we'll wait and see. Barry says, I'm not a fan of the away kit. Plain and blue. Yeah, I don't really like the away kit either, mate, to be honest. I like the new third kit. That's really nice. I'll probably buy that one. But yeah, I don't really like the away kit either at all. Let's have a look at the results of the poll then, shall we? So I asked you the question, who do you want as your new centre-back? Your 4 options were David Hancko, De Ligt, Jonathan Tah and Branthwaite. 49% of people want De Ligt. That's fine. That's your decision. No problem at all. 37% of people want David Hancko, 6% Jonathan Tah and 8% Branthwaite. So it's kind of between De Ligt and David Hancko at the moment. That's fair. That's very, very fair. And I would take De Ligt 100%, but I just don't think he's worth £42 million plus add-ons with the injury record he has and the fact that Eric Dyer starts ahead of him and the fact that he's handed in a transfer request. You know, when you add all of these things together, the price you end up with is not 42 million. It should be considerably less than that because they want rid of him. They've already found his replacement in Jonathan Tah. He's handed in a transfer request, etc., etc., etc. It's not like he's just signed a new contract and he's their starting centre-back. Like, yeah, so that's my take on it anyway. But obviously I appreciate in the polls, it's quite... I'm just asking you a name, aren't I? We're not really discussing context. James says the CDM doesn't have to be world-class. They just need to get the ball off the opposition and give it to Mainu or Bruno. Yeah, that's fair. I agree. And that's why I'm saying, you know, like, what's he called? Fofana would be able to do that job, I think. All right, let's have a little sip of me tea. Showcat says, Fofana is not very good in tight positions, but Ugarte is. Okay, fair enough. It's good to get other people's opinions. It is always good. Right, let me just double check. Yeah, it'd be good to know how everyone feels about that story about Erik ten Hag. Like, if he doesn't finish 4th in the top 4 this season, would you be wanting rid of him? And I think that, as I said, there needs to be context to the situation. If we finish 6th, 7th and play terrible football, then maybe you start having the conversation of he should go. But yeah, I think we're going to see better football this season, you know? And I think it's going to be way more attractive and I'm excited. I really, really am. But this feels like a good place to end the video here. So thank you very much for joining me on the show today. Please make sure to smash a like on the video before you go. Please subscribe to the channel as well. We're literally 2 away from 33k now. So there must be 2 people watching today who aren't subscribed. So let's make sure we hit that. Have a great day, everybody. I'll be back at 1:30 for your lunchtime roundup. And then obviously back again at 6 p.m. Don't forget to drop a comment as well. Let me know your thoughts on everything we've discussed. Thank you very much. This has been Kieran. This has been Daily Red Devil. Speak to you all in a few hours. Bye for now.